Even this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We continue our worship from last night, Monday, Thursday. You can see the altar is stripped. Those of you joining us on YouTube, how delighted you are to hear that the sound works tonight. If the sound doesn't work in any of our future adventures, we will terminate the podcast, the live stream, and we will start a new one, a fresh one. So you'll have to look it up and join us that way. And
this is judgment, that the light has come into the world, and we love darkness rather than light.
darkness at all.
For God sent his Son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him.
Everyone who does evil hates the light and does not come to the light, but all who do what is true come to the light. Come, let us worship in spirit and truth. Surely he took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities.
Punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed.
We all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way.
And the Lord gave unto him
A reading from Matthew. Then Jesus said to them, "You will all become deserters because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." Peter said to him, "Though all become deserters because of you, I will never desert you." Jesus said to him, "Truly I tell you, this very night before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times." Peter said to him, "Even though I must die with you, I will not deny you." And so said all the disciples.
Now Peter was standing outside in the courtyard. The servant girl came to him and said, "You also were with Jesus, the Galilean." But Peter denied it before all of them, saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." When he went out to the porch, another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again, Peter denied it with an oath. "I do not know the man." After a little while, the bystanders came by and said to Peter, "Certainly you are one of them, for your accent betrays you." And Peter began to curse, and he swore an oath, "I do not know the man." At that moment, the cock crowed. And Peter remembered what Jesus had said: "Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly.
When it was evening, he took his place with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." And they became greatly distressed and began to say to him one after another, "Surely not I, Lord." He answered, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that one not to have been born." Judas, who betrayed him, said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." He replied, "You have said so."
Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be grieved and agitated. Then he said to them, "I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and stay awake with me." And going a little further, Jesus threw himself on the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want." Then Jesus came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So you could not stay awake with me 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you might not come into the time of trial. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak." Again, Jesus went away for the second time and prayed, "My Father, this cannot pass unless I drink it. Your will be done." Again, Jesus came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed for the third time, saying the same words. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? See, the hour is at hand. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." While Jesus was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I will kiss is the man, arrest him." Once Judas came up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. And Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you are here to do." And they came and laid hands on Jesus and arrested him.
A reading from John. So the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the council and said, "What are we to do? This man is performing many signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and destroy both our holy place and our nation." But one of them, Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, said to them, "You know nothing at all. You do not understand that it's better for you to have one man die for the people than to have the whole nation destroyed." He did not say this on his own, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus was about to die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but to gather into one the dispersed children of God. So from that day on, they planned to put him to death.
And from Matthew. The chief priests and the whole council were looking for false testimony against Jesus, so that they might put him to death, but they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last 2 came forward and said, "This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days." The high priest stood up and said, "Have you no answer? What is it that they testify against you?" But Jesus was silent. Then the high priest said to him, "I put you under oath before the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." And Jesus said to him, "You have said so. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "He has blasphemed. Why do we still need witnesses? You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?" They answered, "He deserves death." Then they spat in his face and struck him, and some slapped him, saying, "Prophesy to us, you Messiah. Who is it that struck you?"
From Luke. Then the assembly rose as a body and brought Jesus before Pilate. Pilate then called together the chief priests, the leaders, and the people and said to them, "You brought me this man as one who was perverting the people, and here I've examined him in your presence and have not found this man guilty of your charges against him. Neither has Herod, for he sent him back to us. Indeed, he has done nothing to deserve death. I will therefore have him flogged and release him." Then they all shouted out together, "Away with this fellow! Release Barabbas for us." This was a man who had been put in prison for an insurrection that had taken place in the city, and for murder. Pilate, wanting to release Jesus, addressed them again, but they kept shouting, "Crucify! Crucify him!" A third time he said to them, "Why? What evil has he done? I have found in him no ground for the sentence of death. I will therefore have him flogged and then release him." But they kept urgently demanding with loud shouts that he should be crucified, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate granted his verdict that their demand should be granted. He released the man they asked for, the one who had been put in prison for insurrection and murder, and he handed Jesus over as they wished.
As they led Jesus away, they seized a man, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and they laid the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A great number of people followed him, and among them were women who were beating their breasts and wailing for him. Please stand as you're able. Two others also, who were criminals, were led away to be put to death with Jesus. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified Jesus. There with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And they cast lots to divide his clothing. And from my contrite heart with tears to wonders I confess, the wonders of his glorious love and mine unworthiness. I take across your shadow, I ask no other sunshine than sunrise. Disciples filled with pride, it is finished, hear the cry. On the
Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. And the people stood by watching. But the leaders scoffed at him, saying, He saved others. Let them save himself if he is the Messiah of God, his chosen one. The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine and saying, If you are the king of Jews, save yourself. There was also an inscription over him, This is the King of the Jews.
Meanwhile, standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, Woman, here is your son. Then he said to the disciple, Here is your mother. And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home.
One of the criminals who was hanged there kept deriding him and saying, Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us. But the other rebuked him, saying, Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus replied, Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m, while the sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two.
And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? Then some of the bystanders heard it, and they said, this man is calling Elijah.
After this, when Jesus knew that all was now finished, he said, I am thirsty. A jar full of sour wine was standing there. So they put a sponge full of wine on a branch of hyssop and held it to his mouth. When Jesus had received the wine, he said, it is finished. Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
Please be seated. Now, when the centurion, who stood facing Jesus, saw that it was in this way that he breathed his last, he said, truly, this man was God's son.